Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, here's the thing about this episode. I feel like the last 20 minutes of it is when it really gets good. So let's start with Abby and Gwen. So, Abigail is at Laura's funeral gravestone. And Gwen shows up. And Abigail's talking, about finding the person who did it, and Gwen, this, that, and the third. And Gwen is like, so, I heard my name, you got something to say? So they go back and forth a little bit. And then they're about to get physical. Sean intervenes, and he does this, I don't know if you want to call it a parent trap or something, but he locks both of them up in this interrogation room so they can sit there and try to work out their problems, which they don't. Pretty much Abigail tries to get Gwen to admit that she killed Laura. In the beginning of the whole physical fight started when Gwen was like, well, what if I did? What if I killed her on purpose? What are you going to do about it? Are you serious? Are you serious? So, she's not there trying to get her to admit it. And Gwen is like, no, I'm not falling for it. You and your cousin could be trying to set me up. By the way, on a side note, does that mean that Gwen and Sean are cousins? Since they're half-sisters, I don't exactly know how that works, but I'm assuming that they are, but somebody let me know if they're not. Anyway, they go back and forth, and honestly, to tell you the truth, nothing really comes from it as far as them trying to, agree or try to, make peace or whatever, because Sean's like, listen, Jack wants her in the life, and y'all need to kind of just coexist. And when he comes back, he's like, listen, so here's the thing. There's only two ways this is going to work out. Either y'all press charges on each other, and y'all both remain in the cell together, or y'all agree to drop it and just go your separate ways. And they both agree to drop it and go their separate ways. Now, here's the thing that's actually kind of interesting. Gwen goes back to Laura's gravesite, and, she's actually remorseful. She starts crying, and, she just says sorry, and I hope you can forgive me. And, I even wrote in my notes, I was like, does Gwen actually have a heart? Now, obviously, I know that she has a heart because she was, upset about her childhood. And when she was sitting there talking to Abigail, she was like, listen, just try to imagine being in my shoes, being hungry, poor, growing up, destitute or whatever. And even Abigail was like, listen, I'm sorry that happened. Now, the whole debate about that really comes down to the fact that, yes, you had a crappy childhood, but it doesn't give you an excuse to, it doesn't give her an excuse to have done the things that she done to Abigail, to Jack, without even knowing all the facts. Actually, now that I think about it, and for people that don't watch General Hospital, in a lot of ways, it sort of reminded me of Nell's situation. She came to town to blow up Carly and her family's life because she felt like her life was crap because of Carly. And she didn't know all the facts. But she came in there guns blazing, trying to destroy their lives, trying to destroy her life and her family's lives because of misinformation or kind of like half-truths. And that's the same thing with Gwen. Now, granted, you know what, honestly, to tell you the truth, part of me wants to feel some sort of sympathy for her. And I do remember me sitting there saying, and everyone that watched, remember me sitting there saying, you know what, listen, no matter what happens, I just don't give a damn at this point. And that's partly true. My hang up with her whole sympathy and, feeling sorry for her is that for me personally, she crossed the line. She crossed the line. And that line was when Chad was drunk and she had sex with him without his consent. Because as we all know, when you're drunk, you can't give consent. I know I sound like a broken record, but I feel like the show just kind of neglects that, so every now and then I kind of like to throw in my 2 cents about that. And granted, it doesn't give her, what she did was still, well, shitty. Let's just be honest. But seeing that scene does show that she does have a heart. She is somewhat remorseful. I don't know, maybe there's a possibility of a redemption arc down the line, So I guess we'll just wait and see about that. But I thought that scene was particularly interesting because, granted, as a viewer, we can see that they didn't really show it, but we just gotta assume that what she said was true and that she really didn't sit there and try to kill her. But at the same time, she gave a drug to Abigail that could have did more than just fry her brain. It could have killed her. So, there is that. What else we got? We got Philip and we got, I was going to say Mommy Dearest. We got Philip and we got, Kate. And honestly, to tell you the truth, nothing really comes from that conversation other than the fact that Philip is like, listen, do you want me to hire Gabby to keep him clear of your man? Because, well, you need to just, you need to watch yourself. You need to be a little intimidated by her. Come on, let's be honest. She looks hot. Hell, even Phil was like, I can appreciate, a beautiful woman. But, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, their conversation don't really go anywhere. So, doesn't really go that far, except for the fact that Kate is sitting there thinking about joining Jake at the Marrows, which, again, I think it's a good idea. Kate tries to hide her insecurities as far as, Jake is a grown man, and he's not, one to just, something about giving in to his basic urges or whatever. Like, he turned her down, and everything is fine, and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like I don't feel like she fully believes that. I really don't feel like she fully believes that. Jake can sit there and tell her, oh, you're the one for me, this, that, and the third. But if you don't believe it, it's not going to really amount up to anything. And speaking of the other side of the coin, we got Jake and Gabby. Gabby is, you know what? Before I really get into Gabby, please write down in the comment section below. Let me know what you actually like about Gabby. What are the things you like about her? What are the positives that you like about her? And I'm only asking because, let's be honest, the first time I started watching the show and I saw Gabby, I gave her hell. And I've been kind of giving her hell ever since, but you know my motto. When you do something right, regardless of how I feel, I will sit there and point it out. But yeah, with that being said, write something that you actually like about Gabby, because I know there's a lot of Gabby fans, so let me know what you like about her. Why am I so... So yeah, Gabby's sitting there talking to Jake, and Gabby got so much confidence, it just... I can't tell with her. I feel like there's a fine line between confidence and whatever the hell she has. Now, with that being said, to be fair, Jake is, Jake's poker face isn't really looking too good. Let's just be honest. There's a point where she accidentally, drops her phone or her pen or something like that. And, Jake looks at her and, she's all like, oh, I see you looking at me or whatever. And, Jake is like, alright, so I see that you're being really desperate, which isn't a good look. And honestly, to tell you the truth, the only thing that really comes out of this whole conversation is the fact that Gabby's like, you still want me. you had your chance, now it's too late, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And then she, you know, gets more digs into Kate about her age, and, you know, the fact that at one point that she was a quote-unquote professional, lady of the streets, I'm just going to sit there and say. And then they also talk about you know, Gabby Chic and how he had his chance and now he's gonna blow her out of she's gonna blow him out of the competition or whatever, and then she walks off and, you know, he composes himself, and then Kate comes in. And Kate is not there looking at Jake, and it's like, you know, asks him like, I thought you had to get to the office, and, you know, Jake is like, oh, I've been held up, and then he looks at the store. In the store, you know, it says Gabby on it, and he looks at the store, and then Kate looks at Jake and looks at the store, and at this point, we all know that she's worried about, well, she's just worried, and honestly, to tell you the truth, she needs to be worried. She does. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You know, when we saw that scene in the office room, and, you know, Gabby was pretty much performing tongue surgery on Jake, you know, the dude didn't actually push her away. He didn't sit there and say no. I don't remember him saying no, but he didn't really try too hard to push her away. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. What else? Oh, and I think Philip made a decision about working with Gabby, which I think he's going to do. Now, on the other side of town, we got Orpheus, which is my new favorite villain. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I thought he was my favorite villain when I first saw him. When he had John tied up or whatever, it was something about him that just seemed like he was so. You just knew he was the villain. Let's put it this way: you knew he was just the villain. But anyway, Ben went to go see Clyde, which he thought he was going to be talking to Vincent, which apparently Vincent, well, he kind of offed himself. And so, you know, at first Ben is like, did you kill him? You know, you say you were going to do it, and they argue about it for a little bit, but then he tells him that Sierra may be alive, and I don't remember if he got into details about it or not, like as far as the phone conversation, he might have, I don't remember. But basically, he's like, you know, Sierra's alive, and, you know, the hell's his name? Clyde gives him a theory as far as, like, check the logins to see who was the last person that visited Vincent, and you have your answer. At first, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a made-up name, because it sounded like it was a made-up name, like he just wrote something, and that was about it. So when Ben goes to Sean with the information, after he convinces him that Sierra may be alive, they look up the name. And I'm thinking it's going to come back, it's going to be some 92-year-old woman that has a bunch of cats. I'm a cat person, so, you know, don't come at me. I'm just not saying, I just thought it was going to come back to some random name in another town somewhere, but he actually used his real name. Like, really? Like, he really used his real name. I guess they must check their IDs or whatever. Which is kind of weird, because I'm pretty sure, not Eve, what the hell is her name? Tamara-based character, Ava. Too many damn Avas. Ava used a false name to actually get in to see, Kristen. So why the hell did he not use... He actually used his real... Okay, sure, whatever. Just like, you know what? Whatever advances the plot at this point, sure. So, they are able to, you know, get his address. And he also talks about, talking to Susan and a shark or whatever. And when they look up the name, it has his face, some priors or whatever, and it has a tattoo of a shark. And they get the address. Now, the whole time, Rhodey's sitting there saying, well, you know, my new employer, you know, the other guy's gone, but, you know, everything's still the same. And Sierra's like, you know, so you can let me go. But she tries to negotiate with him. It doesn't work, like usual. And And so Rhodey's like, well, nothing's going to change and you're still going to be here. And apparently he's giving her gruel now. So that's, gruel. Really? So he's talking. And then out of nowhere, I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, alright, so this is just going to end. It's going to end. And then I just hear a gunshot. And I see blood. And I'm like, what the Like, I'm not going to lie. That partly woke me up a little bit. And I had to rewind that because I was like, I'm sorry. Really? And then part of me is sitting there thinking, well, damn, that was, I mean, for a soap opera, I'm not going to lie, maybe it was just a gunshot or the way the blood spattered. I was like, Jesus Christ, that was kind of graphic, guys. I didn't expect that. And yeah, we got Ben and Sean waiting on the other side of the door. And then, he opens it, or, he busts it open. Next thing you know, you see a gunshot. I'm not gonna lie, Days has a way of actually surprising me. First of all, Days, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think I'm done at this point. Days has a way of surprising me. Days will draw out stuff, but they won't draw it out as long as, I don't know, say General Hospital. I mean, it was going for a while, but that was because of contract negotiations and stuff. The point is, when they got Sierra back, like, when they got the actress back, they're ready to stretch this out for a little bit, and then they just got right to the point. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, cool, it's going to be like another warehouse somewhere else or whatever. And this was the second time that they actually surprised me, so great job, Days. Also, sometimes I'm not going to lie, it's actually easier talking about Days than it is GH. Like, Days has a way, and I've said this before, Days has a way of condensing the amount of characters that they have on the show to, I guess, make the story a little more smoother and more cohesive. You have three stories, and you may have maybe 6 or 7 characters the most, but it's not like GH when they just start throwing in like 7 or 10 characters for sometimes no reason. Which is weird, because sometimes I feel like it would generally be easier for me to talk about General Hospital, but once again, they seem to get those points. I don't know if I missed anything at any point with this review. So, if I did, write it down in the comment section below. Also, again, write something that you like about Gabby. Now, I've been giving Gabby a hard time, especially from day one. And I got some smoke back for it. So, because also, I don't know the character, and I'm just seeing her in whatever element that she is. I don't see the dark stuff that she's been through. Like, people said that, she was pregnant in jail, she lost her child, and she was in jail for, well, a crime that she didn't commit. And all this other backstory and drama and stuff like that happened with this character that I don't know. So, I want to kind of know, what do you like about Gabby? What is the stuff you like? Anything that I was going to sit there and say stuff that you don't like, but stuff that you like about Gabby. Let me know in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next review.